What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bleav in Lions right here on the Bleav Podcasting Network. You know what that is. That's Detroit's #1 sports podcasting network. This is a show where I believe in the Detroit Lions. By the end of this episode, so will you. I guess it's not that I'll believe in the Detroit Lions. This is that we believe in the Detroit Lions. That's me and the one and only Bennie Bleav. He shows up every week. Well, not every week. Sometimes I can't find him. But he's here this week, ready to talk some football. And Bennie, we just got done with the draft. We got so much to talk about. We got new players. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about these guys. How you doing this week?
I'm doing wonderful. It's been a crazy couple of weeks for me, but I'm glad that you filled in and you did a marvelous job, just like the gentleman does when a star player can't show up. I'm waiting to hear your take on Mr. Brad Holmes' first GM picks as a Lion.
Bennie, the Lions can't wait to hear what we have to say. I'm really excited. I think this was a really interesting draft. The players they got, the positions they talked about, the kind of character, mentality they got. We're going to get into all that. I mean, just so much to talk about. I might have to give you a spelling bee, Bennie. I might need you to spell some of these players' names that we picked because I think that would be entertaining for the show, as well as some unique names that Mr. Holmes selected. So we'll see how we do with the names here on the show.
Okay.
But before we do that,
you know me, I like to call guys Mr. Corn and stuff like that.
I'm glad you come around to Mr. Corn. It's much better than Mr. Elder.
Mr. O. I have no idea his kid's last name. I really don't.
I think we got some football players, even if the names are tough. So we'll get into all that. But Bennie, before we do that, you know we got to talk about betonline.ag, one of our great sponsors here on the show. We're also going to have another great sponsor, Kanan Sunglasses, later in the show. But Bennie, you been visiting betonline.ag at all recently?
Oh, wow, Derek. Let me tell you what made me go to betonline.ag. Okay? And I want all of the fans that are listening. Down here in South Florida, we got a place called the Hard Rock. And when you're a sports junkie like I am, I don't have the money to bet, but hey, you know, what's $50 here or there, as long as you win. Okay? And so I want all of the fans to go on betonline.ag and follow Bennie Bleav. And don't follow my pick.
Oh my goodness, you got to check it out. Bennie's been known to get in on the action a little bit, so we'll give you a quick sponsor listen. Everybody give this a listen. Go to their website, check it out. Some great stuff on there, and then when we come back, we're talking Lions football. So everybody, we'll be right back. Bleav in Lions listeners, you know we got to get betonline.ag in here. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. The Masters is here. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free, absolutely free to sign up. Head to the website, betonline.ag, or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive a 50%. 50%. You can't beat that. Welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Bleav in Lions listeners, we're back from the break. Thanks so much for listening to betonline.ag. You got to go check that out, just like Mr. Blades does frequently at that website. But Bennie, we don't mess around on the show. We got to talk football. So before we start talking about the players or getting you to spell these players' names, I want to talk about the approach for a second. I really think me and you had talked about that they need to add building blocks. You know, I know that your answer for that first pick was Pitts. Nothing, everybody but Pitts. But I think we went big bodies, big beef with the first few picks. And I think those are the type of building blocks that I wanted, even though Pitts, some of the receivers and whatnot were interesting. What'd you think about getting the big boy Sewell as well as the two defensive tackles? We won't get into the players, but how about the approach that they took early?
I mean, to me, that was a safe pick, Penei Sewell. I mean, he's a young kid. Like I talked about him weeks back. He'll be that left tackle / right tackle for us that I think the Lions can hang their hats on for years to come. I mean, like I told you before the show, I loved his press conference after the game. He kind of reminds me of already that Motor City mentality. He's a family oriented guy, and that's what I love about guys like that. They come in, you know, family guys. He's gonna put everything on the table from day one, whether it be the left tackle or the right tackle. So, you know, safe bet, safe bet.
Yeah, I try to steer Mr. Blades in the direction, but he's talking about Penne right off the bat. Let's just go like this, Benny. The approach to me in the beginning was best player available. They got the number 2 overall player, in my opinion, at number 7. That was big time. As well as, like I say, everybody always talks. Bennie Blades on this show has been known to talk about the trenches. It starts up front, and it starts with the guys on the outside, the cover men as well. So I bet you had to love kind of that approach of just big bodies on offense and defensive lines. And then we got a cover man that we'll talk about too in the late 3rd round that I think's got a lot of potential. So you just had to like the way that he attacked it, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Billy Blaze likes to talk about the trenches. You win football games. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you can have all the talent at quarterback. You can have all the talent at receiver. Some of the best corners in the game. You need all of that I just mentioned. You need all of that. But if you ain't got nobody that's a run stopper and that can protect the quarterback, then you got a long day, baby. And I just really think uh, Mr. Sewell and Mr. O and I even the third pick, Aleem McNeil. So I can pronounce his name.
Yeah,
Aleem
you
McNeil.
you you nailed that one.
Okay. So fans for the rest of this year, I will be calling Mr. Levi O. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce his last name, but I'm waiting to see. Derek spoke highly of this young man before the draft, and so I'm waiting to see, what his big time player could come in and do. Especially uh, just watching some of his highlights, he reminds me of a Jerry Ball back in the day. Quick off, it makes things happen.
So Benny, let's dive right into it. Like you say, you're already halfway through the draft on me. We haven't got there, but like you say, we got so much to talk about. We might as well just dive right into it. So, in my opinion, the Lions got real fortunate that Penei Sewell made it to 7. I mean, I couldn't find many ways that he was going to, and then as it got later in the process, I brought his name back up to you because I didn't even talk about him early because I didn't think he would be there. This kid's like 20 years old, 330 pounds, crazy feet. I mean, he can get out and just kills people on the screen game, or if you need to do some exotic things in the blocking game. I mean, he's not just going to stand there at the line of scrimmage. He can move, get out there, and looking to take somebody's head off, as you would say. So I love that. That would have been my pick as well. I took Sewell at 7 with my selections. You've been talking about Levi O. Benny, I know we can do a better nickname than that, and I haven't put too much thought into it, but his initials are LO, so I think we got to call him Low. And he also came from Washington, so if it's LO with the W, that's Low as well. So I think it's Low for now, unless we come up with something better. Because Levi O or Mr. O, I mean, I like that you're coming around to Mr. Corn instead of Mr. Elder. I think that's funny, even though neither of them sound very good. I think we're going to like him as a cornerback. So I mean, this was a guy I didn't take much in my mocks, but you're going to love his game. Benny, did you hear his post? You probably didn't hear his interview, did you, after he met with the media? Did you hear what he said?
No.
Benny, this is a family show, but I'll give you the synopsis. He said, I like to bleep some people up. I'm here to just mess S up, is what he said. He probably dropped 3 F bombs and 2 S bombs to the media in his first media conference. This guy loves football. He's not messing around. He's coming to take your soul. Is what LO, Mr. Lowe, is trying to do, and I love it.
Well, if he can give us what Jerry Ball, Adamaka Stew, Robert Porsche. That's just the name of few. I mean, I just used to love the way I affectionately called Big Black to me. Robert Porsche used to come in and say, Bleav, you know I'm gonna mess him up this day, right? You know that, right? So let's make it happen, big fella. You know,
You gotta love it.
no, I used to love that. So if Mr. L.O., Mr. Levi O is gonna do that, he gotta look, he got a fan in Bennie Bleav already.
Now, the nice thing, you're comparing him to Jerry Ball and all this, and just bringing up all the old Lions. I mean, I always find that to be a funny gimmick when all Lions fans are just like, he reminds me of Herman Moore if he's a receiver. He reminds me of Bennie Blades if he played safety. It doesn't even matter if they're like that. But here's the thing, we're gonna get to Jerry Ball type player here in a moment, but Low is, I mean, this guy is a guy you can put over the nose. You can move him out to the, 5 technique, 3 tech. This guy can play all up and down the line. And like I say, he has some missed tackles and whatnot, but he's very disruptive. And that's going to be real different for Lions fans because we've been seeing people just holding the point of attack, getting run through the last couple of years. This guy's going to be in the backfield, making some trouble happen. But your big Jerry Ball comp is the next one that you said, McNeil. This guy is like 330 pounds. And former baseball player, quick first step. This guy's nimble. He used to be a running back in high school. This guy is, if what I'm hearing is like, this was a pick I didn't love, to be honest. I felt like you didn't have to double dip on the defensive line. We already had a lot of bodies up there. I felt they could have went some other ways. But if this guy can do what they say, which is get in the backfield and just blow people off the ball with his strength, Benny, this guy, you told people you don't even know where the weight room is. Mr. McNeil is always in the weight room. He squats 650. He benches 450. So this guy's gonna be pushing some bodies around up front. I mean, he's not like you out there lifting the 10-pound curls over there.
Hey, Jerry,
Yes.
I told you there's a difference between weight room strong, baby, and just Cadillac strong. I was Cadillac strong, okay?
That's true. That's true. You could still whoop me. I know that. So I mean, I shouldn't be taking shots at you. But so we're at the third pick. But let me rewind a second. So in the second round, when they took Low, he was like the number 2 defensive tackle on most people's board. Some people had him as the number 1 guy. So we basically got the top offensive tackle, and for this sake, let's say we got the top DT as well, that can move inside, outside, move all around. I would have taken, here's a name for you, Benny, since we're playing the name game today, Jeremiah Owusu Karamoa from Notre Dame. This guy fell down the draft board. We heard today that there was some type of heart issue that came out. People were unsure about it. I would have taken this kid because he's a light linebacker. He probably only weighs like 210, 220, but he can fly all over the field, safety, linebacker, wherever. He's got the Bennie Blade skill set. Move him all around and just let him be a heat-seeking missile. So that's who I would have taken in the second round. And then in the third round, instead of the big fella in the middle, I thought there was great value with De'Ani Brown, receiver from North Carolina. I mean, go watch this guy play. He's incredible. He went to Washington, I think. Catch it, run it, do all these types of things. So as normal, all my mock drafts, I never took Low in any of my mocks, barely. I never took the big fella McNeil. I didn't think Sewell would make it to us. So, again, Benny, this is what happens. We always think we have it figured out, and these guys pick everybody else. But I really like the big bodies up front. I think it's smart.
Well, me being the player, you being the GM, that goes to show you neither one of us knew what Brad Holmes had in mind, did we?
We didn't, but that's a good thing because he did. He knew what he wanted. I mean, did you see the video of him getting fired up after he picked Sewell?
Oh, man, did I?
Woo!
I'm just glad his enthusiasm did not knock Miss Sheila Hemp to the floor.
Exactly. That was my favorite part, is that he really got crazy when the owner got on the phone. That's when he got real loud. That made it great. And the other part that made it great, Benny, is when he almost suplexed Rod Wood through the table. I wanted him to just do an overhead belly to belly and throw Rod Wood right to the glass door in the draft room. That's what I was hoping for.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm calling it a safe pick because now to protect our quarterback, we got 2 left tackle, right tackle
Yeah.
that can block.
Oh yeah.
So there's no way that our quarterback should not be protected. And I think, hey, we should score lots of points. Lots of points. I
Oh.
love points.
Well, you should love defense. And here, I got to call you out on something, as I've been known to do on the show. What did you just dance around my Rod Wood comment? Are you guys buddies or something? You got nothing to say about that? Because Brad Holmes not only threw Rod Wood around, you might have to give 54 a little trouble if he ever answers your phone calls, because he grabbed 54 and threw him around a little bit too. And 54 was not, he didn't have any bear hug back or nothing. And then Brad Holmes, like you said, almost broke the table when Sheila Ford Hamp went on the phone. He slammed that table. I thought it was going to break in half like he was the Karate Kid or something. Like that was some good footage. So you don't have any comment on any of that?
No, because I'm trying to stay neutral when it comes to. You just don't like Hope Rod, do you?
You're angling there, Mr. Blades, for that enforcer gig is what you're doing.
Neutral when it comes to Mr. Rod, because I have dealt with some guys that don't know anything about football, but yet they seem to get those positions. So I'm going to just stay neutral. Whoever he knew, God bless him.
Right, but 54 is a beast of a middle linebacker, and Brad Holmes grabbed him and gave him a do-si-do and fling him around, and then he flung John Dorsey out of the way too. I thought John Dorsey was going to hit the floor, but anyway, I just thought that was so funny across the board, and like you say, I just like the excitement. Like you said, the excitement, great pick, big body, foundation piece. It's okay to get fired up in the draft room. Now, you might want to be a little more quiet when the owner's on the phone and she's trying to talk with somebody instead of going crazy at that point, but everything else, I absolutely loved everything about it. So to me, Benny, like even though those aren't names, those second two names aren't ones that we maybe had on the tip of our tongue, or maybe still not on the tip of our tongue because we can't pronounce them. Good picks, both of those, I think. And let's talk about the pick at 338, the 38th pick in the third round, 101 overall. Another incredible value by Brad Holmes. Ife Melifonwu. Benny, I was a huge fan of his brother, Melifonwu, that came out a couple years ago. He went to the Raiders, and then he was horrible. Now he's with the New England Patriots, starting to play better. But his little brother here, 6'2", 212 pounds, long, lanky, corner, athlete, jumps 42 inches, ran like a 4.4, 4.5, wherever he's at, like great speed for that size. I think this guy is going to be a real nice ball player. I don't know if he's going to start probably from day one, but he's going to be an impactful piece at a corner position. I like this kid.
Well, I he might be a good pick, but I don't think he'll start from day one because, like you said, we got a guy. I'm going back and I'm looking at AO. You love AO. You love AO. You love AO.
I do. That's right.
So, I mean, look, this kid can probably come in, him and Mr. Corn, get me our nickel and dime package, our third or fourth corners off the bench. But right now, I'm marking Mr. AO our second corner.
Mr. Blades, I want to see if you'll do something for me, or at least want to educate you on something. So my other show, the Detroit Kool-Aid Cast, which I do Wednesdays and Fridays, where I'm talking Lions as well. I got a very charmed life over here, Mr. Blades. I'm talking football like 4 or 5 days a week. If I can ever track you down, I get to talk football with you, which is entertaining. But on the Detroit Kool-Aid Cast, I gave him the name AO because I can't pronounce it either. It's another hard name. We got all these guys from Nigeria and whatnot with these hard names. But yeah, you ever see And One mixtapes, Mr. Blades?
And One mixtape?
Oh yeah, Skip to My Lou. You ever seen any of these?
No, I'm too old for that. What are you talking about?
Benny, I was a ball player in the streets. I used to street ball. I could pull off all these tricks, and One mixtapes was my thing back in the day. And there was this guy named AO, and whenever they'd say his name, they'd have to drop this. Oh, baby! So it'd go something like this. AO. Oh, baby. Every time he'd break some ankle. So that's where it comes from. So one of these days, if you don't want to do it now, you got to break out an AO. Oh, baby for me. How about that?
I'll do that when AO is in the starting lineup. I'll say, AO baby, AO baby. Okay.
Perfect.
Right now,
I'm hoping we hear a lot of that this year from AO out on the football field.
hey, look, now, Derek, I'm trying to figure out. I don't even know what to call Ifetu Melo. Look, I'm gonna call
Oh,
him
that was
I am.
you almost had
I
it.
am. Look, I'm not trying to figure out these names. My
I
mom,
am.
my mom made it real easy for sportscasters to call my name, Derek.
Oh, you
Bennie
got
Bleav. Not my legal name, Horatio. Nobody wanted to hear that. It's
Benny.
Bennie Bleav on the
You,
tackle.
you are you're a top 10 name in sports history in my book. Bennie Blades is a top 10 name, first and last.
What name are you gonna give him, Derek?
And you
What name are
backed it
you
up
gonna
all
give him?
day. Well, right now, I'm going to go with what Brad Holmes said because I think it's kind of swaggy and it's a lot easier. So it's Iffy. Straight up Iffy, Benny.
I think the kid's gonna want to call iffy because if he's gonna be good or if he's gonna be bad, he's just iffy.
I mean, you could think about it like that, or you could just be like, man, you know who's guarding on the outside? Man, that's Iffy. Iffy's got him. Don't worry. Like, it sounds swaggy, don't you think?
No, that's not.
I think it's nice.
Hey, Derek,
Yes.
in the hood, that ain't swag. I'm iffy. That mean, bro, are you down with me or not? No, I'm iffy, man.
That's a good point,
You
actually.
down
But,
with me or
like,
not? No, I'm iffy, man. I'm iffy.
but you're thinking about the meaning. I'm thinking about how it sounds. You got to say it with some respect, man. You can't be like, I'm iffy, like I'm unsure. It's not I'm unsure. It's I'm this iffy out here on the edge. You don't want none of this. That sounds way better than what you're saying.
He goes in the game and they say, yo, dude, what's your name? Hey, man, I'm iffy.
That's sweet. That sounds so good if you don't think about it the way you're thinking about it. You're just off on this one, Mr. Blair. I know what you mean with the meaning, but when you say it nice or cool like you just did, it sounds good.
No, as he began to play, I'm gonna come up with a cool nickname for him.
Okay. All right. You work on
we-
that. Like I said, Mr. Holmes is calling him iffy, so because I'm trying to get in good with Mr. Holmes, I'm gonna call him that too.
Okay, because I got 4 feet. Amon Rot St. Brown.
Oh, Benny, hold on. We will get there. I would have taken this Johnson kid, safety out of Indiana, instead of Iffy, but I really like that pick. I think you're going to love him. I can't wait to hear your nickname. This 4th rounder, this St. Brown, Benny, this kid, I thought this was the best kind of value or just a great. We had already loaded up with big bodies. Then we got a nice corner, which we can add to the mix, like you say, between A.O., Okuda, Mr. Okuda. We got Elder in the slot. We've got the guy out of Seattle that we picked up that I like a lot. Name escaped me right now for whatever reason. Like, we got a nice corner group. But then Brad Holmes was able to come and get this receiver. We all knew we needed a receiver, but what was I preaching before? Don't take a receiver up high. Get one at good value. And I feel like St. Brown, this was tremendous value. This guy, you want to know the 3 people he reminds me of, Mr. Blades?
Who?
This is going to be high praise. You're going to laugh this out of the room, but I'm telling you, wait till he hits the football field. He has a skill set mix. I'm not saying he's going to be these players, but the different things he does on the field reminds me of Golden Tate, Hines Ward with his blocking and his mentality, and then third and definitely not least, because I don't want this guy coming after me whatsoever, Steve Smith Sr. was one of his favorite players, and he's got a little bit of dog in him like Mr. Sr. did. So put all those together, we got ourselves a ball player here at 112 overall with Mr. St. Brown.
Really? Huh.
He can catch it over the top. He can play the slot. He'll block you. He comes from like an athletic family. He's productive. I mean, gosh, I just like everything about him. Like, there were other receivers I wanted. Like I said, I would have rather had De'Ami Brown around earlier, but this guy, there was no other receivers I really wanted more so than this guy at the spot they got him. So I love it.
Well, I'm gonna go with you on that right there. But the very next pick, now 113. I mean, 2 picks back to back.
Hold on, Mr.
Unless you're gonna
Blades.
tell, unless you're
Hold
gonna
on.
tell me we just had to have Derek Barnes, and you're gonna tell me all about him. But you know, I have to bring it up. At
Hold
some
on.
point, you know I was gonna bring it up. Who was still there from the U, baby? From the U, man. Who was still there?
What was that?
Who was still there from the U?
Well, you jumped the gun again, which you've been known to do on the show, because I didn't give you my pick that I would have taken instead of Mr. St. Brown with my selections. You want to hear who it was?
Brevin Jordan.
You know it, Mr. Blades. I took Brevin Jordan at 112, the tight end. I like that kid a lot, and he was still out there. I said, hey, I didn't get Mr. Pitts at number 7 overall, but I'd be happy to take Brevin Jordan at 112 and play him in a similar type role.
Yeah, that's what I said. Even if you love Mr. St. Brown at 112, at 113, come right back and pick up Brevin Jordan.
They did not take somebody from the U, but Benny, did you watch the highlights I sent you of Derek Barnes?
No.
Well, I didn't think you would because you're a busy man. You're trying to like take over South Florida, but I'm going to like make you watch this tape because when I saw it, I can't say he was on my radar either. I mean, he kind of spells his first name really, really odd. I mean, I don't know why you would go with that spelling. Everybody knows it's at Derek Okrie on Twitter, Derek Okrie. That's the place to be, right? But Derek Barnes, spelled Derick for some reason. Like, Benny, wait till you watch this tape. Mr. Barnes, I mean, this guy just he explodes. He can, you know how like everybody said Mr. Jared Davis couldn't diagnose? Barnes like sees it, hits the hole, and he just goes and will take you out. Like, I loved what I saw. I think this guy is a future captain of the defense. I feel like it was great value. He used to play defensive end. He could play middle linebacker. He can make all the calls on defense. Like, this is quickly becoming my favorite pick of the draft now because of what I saw once I looked into him a little bit more. He can play.
Okay, look, I understand that pick. I'm going to watch this kid's highlights because we do need value at that middle, especially at that middle linebacker position. Man, if he can cover and do other things, super pick.
I know you want the guy from the U, but I'm telling you.
Here,
yes.
Between 112 and 113, we could have got Mr. Jordan from the U. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you to some degree, but I'm very confident that when you see this clip show that I sent you today of Mr. Barnes, you're going to fall in love with this kid. I mean, he diagnoses, he hits you, he runs sideline to sideline, he doesn't miss many tackles, and then I also saw the interview with him, and I thought this is the best kid ever, just smart, great character, loves football, humble, just going to be great for the team. So just a tremendous pick, and the Lions had to love him to move all the way up, give up a 4th rounder next year. They had to have this guy, so that tells me something too.
Yeah, especially we gave up a 5th or 6th.
We gave up a 5th this year and a 4th next year to come all the way up to make this second pick in a row, but it really didn't hurt the Lions this year. You know, they still were able to grab somebody late in the 7th, which we'll get to here in a moment. And next year in the 4th, we're going to have a couple compensatory picks in that range anyway, so it'll kind of be a wash. So I think it's going to turn out well because Barnes, man, he's got a lot of stuff you like. A lot of people have him starting right away. From what I heard today, they're just like he's gonna start at linebacker somewhere, you know, in that mix, or like, you know, learn a little bit under Collins and then end up taking that role at linebacker. So I can't wait to see that. I would have taken this kid Nixon, interior defensive lineman out of Iowa. He was really highly rated. He fell down the board for whatever reason. I thought that was great value. So, you know, I got to take those Big Ten boys, Benny, and I thought that was a great pick. So I'd have got my lineman a little bit later, my defensive lineman, but like I said, I took your boy from the U there with the pick before. I thought you'd be proud of me there. And then at pick 257. This is the 30th pick in the 7th round. So basically a throwaway for most people. Brad Holmes went ahead and said, screw it. Give me Jamar Jefferson, this really underrated kind of a sleeper running back from Oregon State. This kid thought he was going to go in the 3rd or 4th round. He fell all the way down to the 7th. He could do some things too, Benny. I mean, I don't know that we needed a running back. Could have maybe went a different route, but I think this guy is going to probably take Kerryon Johnson's job or maybe do some things that'll surprise us as well. I like his game.
Well, I'm always sold on it having at least 3 or 4 running backs in the fold because that's a position when you look around the league, everybody has at least 3 good running backs. You
Right.
can't start the season with just one. And I don't know if we're going to bring back Mr. Peterson. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good pick for us. And hopefully the kid can, latch on and stay and show the organization what he has to prove.
Yeah. I think best case right now it's Mr. Swift, Mr. D Swizzle back there starting, and then you got the kid we picked up from Green Bay. He's gonna be back there doing his thing, and then we've got Kerryon for now and Jamar Jefferson, and I gotta catch you up on your news, Mr. Blades. Even though I loved you did the gimmick, Mr. Adrian Peterson. He retired a little bit ago, so he hung it up. And like you say, he had a couple good games for us there, but we all know at the end he was Adrian Peterson. He lost that cachet with the name after I tried to give him some love there on the show. So, but here's the thing. We got to get our other great sponsor in here, and then we got to hype everybody up with this draft before we get up out of here. But like looking at these picks, I would have taken Dylan Moses to my last pick. I mean, crazy linebacker at Alabama. I don't know how he went undrafted or whatever, but probably some medical and some speed issues or whatever it may be. But at that point, I just felt like the Lions didn't address linebacker too much other than Derek Barnes. And if I can get a guy like Dylan Moses, who was a first-round pick last year, and now he's undrafted, I don't know how that happens, but that would have been my last pick just based on throw a flyer out there. If it hits, it could be big. If it doesn't, no big deal at that point medically. So like I said, I like the draft I had. I really like the draft Mr. Holmes had as well. I think we both got good football players, and I think this is one we're going to look back, Benny, as a first draft by Mr. Spielman, Mr. Holmes, Dan freaking Campbell, and are going to be like, man, what a great set of football players, kind of like the Pistons did this year. They sort of reset their roster with these really good kids, really good competitors, and yeah, it might take a year or two to kind of come around, but I think we're going to see some early things that we love when these guys hit the football field.
Well, right now, I'm kind of 50-50 on his draft. I'm waiting to see.
50-50?
Yeah, look.
What? You got to Bleav, Benny. Bleav.
Oh yeah. I look. I believe
50-50
in the Lions 24/7. Yeah. Anytime I got a name I can't pronounce, I'm kind of 50-50.
Come on now.
You gotta make me understand who you are, where you come from, because living here in South Florida, Derek, boy, with names like that, you gotta grow up tough. So, and then y'all want to get a boy the name Iffy. Hey, Iffy!
So you're telling me you're a little iffy on this draft? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see. I'm 100% sold on Mr. Fool. 100. Okay. Now, we got a lot of names that I like I say, for me, when I start putting people in categories and put them in the same, breath as the Jerry Balls and the Robert Porsches and the Dominican Shoes, that means these kids should be able to play. And they're going to be great players. When they become great players, boy, you'll say, ooh, I'm going to light up. You hear me? Because there's got, let me do a side note real quick.
Okay.
At pick number 30, I think at Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the last pick at pick 32. I forget who they picked.
Joe Tryon.
Who?
Joe Tryon from Washington.
Mr. Irrelevant.
No, you said 32 in the first round. I don't know who they got at the last pick. Nobody cares about that. Some linebacker with crazy hair they got.
That's what I'm talking about. Round 7, pick number 32. Nobody knows who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers picked. But here's what they did do. They went right out because their kicking game was kind of suspect. And what they do? They picked up the kid from the U. The kid won every kicking award imaginable.
Oh, it always comes back. I mean, it always circles back with you, Mr. Blades.
And when people talk to me down here, and here's the first thing they say, it always come back to those darn Lions. Y'all always drop the D-bomb. Because for me, that's what matters in my life. The Lions and the U.
Oh, so my God.
Hey, look, you wanted to come back to Michigan. I'm the real you.
You're sitting here. We're trying to get our great sponsor, Kanan Sunglasses, in here, and you're talking about a late undrafted kicker from the U.
It's all about the U. It's all about the U.
Are you really doing that right now, just so you can get more sound bites? Is that what we're doing?
Of course, because you know why? It leads right into our next great sponsor. Because when you're living in the Sunshine State, baby, you need those sunglasses.
I was wondering, Mr. Blades, do you rock shades? Are you a shades guy? You always got some fly shades on down there?
Yeah. I told you, okay. I'm going to start sending you some pictures, baby. You living in South Florida, you got to dress like a superstar. Ain't nothing like rocking those shades. So look, I'm going to call up the sponsor and tell them, send me some of them fly shades, baby, so I can rock them all day long.
Oh, absolutely, man. Mr. Blade's touting his shoe collection. He's talking about his shade game. We're going to have to check out what he's doing down there. I think it's a little iffy, if you ask me. But everybody, let's get Kanan Sunglasses in here. You got to check them out, no doubt about it. And when we come back, Mr. Blades, we're going to end the show. You're talking about 50-50 on this draft. I got some draft grades here I want to tell you. And I want your quick grades on some of these picks because I'm going to hold you to them. So everybody take a quick listen to our sponsor. We'll be right back. All right, I want to take one more brief time out. I mean, have you ever had a bad pair of sunglasses? You ever lost your sunglasses? You ever had a pair of sunglasses that broke on you at the worst possible time? I mean, it's time to make your outdoor experience better with Kanan. Kanan sunglasses are made exclusively with polarized lenses for optimal clarity. They're made with Japanese optics that make their lenses clearer, brighter, stronger, and Italian handcrafted frames that are impossible to scratch. You got to check these out. Use the exclusive code KananCast15 at Kanan.com to receive 50% off your first pair. That's KAENONCAST15. Kanan, clearly better. What's going on, everybody? We're back. Go get yourself some Kanan sunglasses, and we're going to try to get Mr. Blades some free pairs if we can knock that out here in the next week or so. But, Mr. Blades, before you get your shade game on or go to the South Beach, you're talking about you're unsure about this draft. Let me give you some grades here. I got some grades right in front of me. Penei Sewell, A-. L-O. You know who that man is. Low. Oh, baby. That's an A-, Mr. Blades. Mr. McNeil, A-. Iffy, that boy that does some things out on the edge. You know who he is. That's the I-F-F-Y, I think is how we're going to have to spell it. That's an A+, Mr. Blades. It says this guy's a quick processor, versatile, physical. It says Melifonwu gives the Lions valuable depth at corner, and he can be a high-level starter. That's an A+ here from... where's this at that I'm Pro Football Network, I believe. Hold on, I'm not done, Mr. Blades, and I'll get you grade. Mr. St. Brown, A+. The Lions, they said this ended the draft for this publication. They said when they took Mr. St. Brown, that this basically won the Lions the draft for here. Oh, hold on. Derek Barnes, grade A. And Mr. Jamar Jefferson, because they said they weren't sure that we needed another running back, C+. That's an overall grade, Mr. Bennie Blades, of an A for the Detroit Lions. And this wasn't just this publication. The Lions, over like 50 mock or 50 grades by different people, they average an A-, Mr. Blades. They were a top 5 in the National Football League as far as grades for their draft. So you're 50-50, your C grade, you kind of giving them. I'm throwing that right out the window. Okay, I'm done.
You see how people calling me? Throw it out there. You can throw it out the window there, but guess what happens?
What's that?
When September rolls around, okay, an A or a C, for me, can you play on the grid? Can you take a grade of an A and translate that into an A? Don't sit here and tell me, well, I've seen a C on a grade turns into an A because he was a baller. I don't go into war rooms like you had all those. I'll mention this again. You had all your little papers on the wall. Okay. Yeah. I love Brad Holmes. I said it from day one when we hired him. I'm putting all my eggs in his basket. And I'm going to go with who he chose. But I can be 50-50.
Is it uncomfortable riding the fence all the time, Mr. Blades? Is it
Football Weekly or anybody? Hey, that means I don't want to hear you at the end of the season saying, well, all of these A's, and then we don't make the playoffs. I don't want to hear that.
Oh, Mr. Blade, is it uncomfortable riding the fence all the time like you do on this show with these half answers? You wouldn't tell me who you're going to take. Now you're 50-50. You're going to wait and see if they're good. I mean, that we don't do that here on the show. You gotta have a strong opinion. So
that's what
let's do your grades.
On this show, you will never hear me throw a player under the bus.
It's not throwing them under the bus when you have an opinion. You can't say, well, I'll wait and see, or maybe. That doesn't work here on the show.
Iffy.
I mean, you're the only one that sounds iffy right now on the show with some of this crap you're trying to pull.
If you give a guy the name Iffy, he's 50-50.
Oh, man.
That's all I'm saying. I told you, look, I'm sold on Mr. Sewell. I am sold on my 2 defensive tackles. I told you who they remind me of. Okay?
Mr. Blades, what's your grade for Penei Sewell? Let's work our way through it. What do you give it? You got to say it right now.
An A. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Hey, I like that grade. That's a good grade. How about Low? What do you give Low there in the second round?
I'm gonna give Low probably an A-. An A-.
Okay. So right now we're way above 50-50. How about Aleem McNeil?
50-50.
How about Aleem McNeil, the big 330-pound beast in the middle? What do you give that pick?
Well, Lee, I give Lee probably a B-.
Okay. Now we get to the one that we've already established that you're hating on him because you don't like it, yet it's definitely swaggy. I don't know why you don't get this. I don't know why you don't understand. Mr. Holmes knows that it's a good name. The guy knows nobody's going to be able to get the names right, so he went with straight up iffy, which I think is fine. You're hating on it here on the show, just like you were hating on Mr. Elder a few weeks ago. I had to call you out on it. Like, what's your grade for Mr. Melifonwu?
Let's tell you something out first. I told you I would never, ever hate on a cane. Never hate on a cane.
You know that's going to be a running.
Call it Mr. Corn. Now you got me calling the man Mr. Corn.
You know that's going to be a running joke in like 8 months. I'm going to bring that up again. How you just like have beef with Corn Elder for no reason. You're going to have to refute it again. You know that, right?
Look, I know you like to give me a hard time, but it's okay. If you play for the U, I ain't never got no beef with you at all. Now, let's go back to Iffy.
We're there. I can't wait to hear your grade.
That's what I say. From here on out, I mean, Iffy. See, from here on out, everybody is a C. That's why I say we're 50-50.
Okay. I'm gonna let you get away with it today, but when he starts making plays, you're gonna be calling him "woo" or you're gonna have a new nickname that's gonna sound a lot better than you're giving him today.
Hold on. What did I say? What did Bennie Bleav say before you try to pin me up under the bus? I said, as long as they come, they make plays, I'm gonna give Iffy a different name. I'm calling it Iffy. I'm gonna call him I am. No, I mean you guys are already thinking he's 50-50 Iffy. No.
All right. Well, Mr. Blades, I'm giving you homework over the next month or two, whenever it comes to you. I need a better nickname than I am if you're not okay with Iffy, because we can't have A-O, oh, baby. We can't have low, L-O-W. We can't just be throwing out. You got to come up with something better than I am, and maybe I'll stamp it with approval, but I am ain't going to work. So I'm just saying that right now here on the show. So St. Brown. I already sold him to you. I gave some legendary names that I think he plays like. What's your instant grade, which I'll hold you to for the rest of your life right now on St. Brown?
A C. I told you. He's a C. Mr. Barnes is a C. Mr. Jefferson is a C.
Terrible.
I'm not me, personally. I'm not giving these guys above a C grade. I can't do it.
Oh.
Yeah. Here's my reasons why. There's been a lot of guys who come from the 12th round that they gave D grades to who became Hall of Famers. I'll be the first one to say, years from now, Bennie Bleav gave Derrick Barnes a C grade. And this kid is arguably one of the greatest linebackers in Detroit Lions history. Be the first one to say it if that proves to be true. Right now, look, please play it for Mr. Barnes because I'm looking for players. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for players. So you can say, oh my gosh, the old guy gave me a C grade. Prove me wrong.
Okay, well, I guess we just have different views because I've never liked it. And I've called other friends, people out about this. It's not very fun when you give a C, you wait to see if they play good, and if they do, you give them credit, and if they don't, you say, I told you so. That doesn't work as well as right now, BLEAV in the Lions, and then if it doesn't work, then when we're hurting. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
On this show, Derek, Bleav, BLEAV, baby, and that's what we do for the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
You told me, okay? Listen to your words, that what? Everybody cannot come in the league being a superstar, right? Just can't happen. You only have X amount of guys, X amount of rounds. Everybody can't be a first round pick. Somebody has to be a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. A lot of those guys will turn out to be Hall of Fame material players. Nobody gave who's the greatest quarterback of all time, Derek, from the Michigan team.
You know who it is, Benny.
Right. Coming out, what do they say? This kid may not even make it past year 3. But he's 43 now.
But Benny, my point is, if when Tom Brady came out, if you were on a podcast and you were like, Tom Brady is going to be a great quarterback. This is why I believe in the guy. And then he does it. You get a lot more credit than if you come on and say, I'm not sure, wait and see. And then he wins 5 Lombardis and you tell me he's good. I already know that at that point. Everybody knows that. I'm trying to get you to go out on a limb like I'm doing and like this publication is doing. A plus, A minus, A. Like, they're not going C's on everything. Come on now.
No. Here's why.
You're being iffy out here on me.
No, because here's why. I'm not here to sell sports publications because that's what they do. Well, this is why I don't think this kid is going to be, as good. And they build some of them up so big, and they go, oh, my God, he's an absolute bust. I call a kid a bust 4 years from now when you knew in college he wasn't that good. He played against I'm not going to do it. Look, if you go out and you have one heck of a game against Clemson, Alabama, and Michigan, Ohio State, teams like that. Now, if you're playing the Little Sisters of the Poor every week,
oh boy, here we go.
I'm not going to sit here and say you're an A or a B. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, there's a lot of great players out there, and Deion. See, this is why I'm all over the place, because I had no idea. Deion Sanders brought it to my attention today, on his Instagram page. He said this is the first year that not one kid from the HBCU have been drafted. Not one. That is absolutely unheard of.
Yeah.
There are some kids in some of these HBCU ball teams, I know for a fact, that are ballers in some of the, not just our team, there's 32 teams. And not one. There's you can't tell me you didn't find out one Jerry Rice.
Well, it's kind of hard to find a Jerry Rice, but you were supposed to do your homework, Mr. Bleav. You kept saying, I'm gonna look into all these sleepers. I'm gonna look into the HBCUs. I mean, you were sleeping at the wheel during draft time. I had to coach you up a little bit. I mean, that was your job. You were supposed to get that list over to Allen Park there, and they would have took one. But Mr. Blades, let me tell you this. So I'm looking at the undrafted guys too, because we got to close up this show. But the Lions got some good undrafted free agents. They got a kid Beckett from Marshall that I've heard some good things about. They've got a big interior lineman Kramer from Notre Dame. They got Drake Jackson from Kentucky. He can do some things. And where they really did is they went wide receiver, which we've been saying, like, hey, beef up and find receivers other ways. Well, Brad Holmes went out and got Javon McKinley from Notre Dame. He got Sage Surratt from Wake Forest, who's got some ability. They got this kid Jonathan Adams from Arkansas State. I'm really curious to see if any of those guys can come in and make the league. And then there's this one kid, cornerback, Jerry Jacobs, I believe it was, from Arkansas. This kid's on his Twitter or whatever, said he's a CB1. So I'm curious to see if he can do some things. But I think they're going to find a gem or two out of those guys as well. And like I said, I'm going to let you get away with your wait and see grades. That's no problem. Everybody else got them with A pluses and whatnot, but you can wait and see. But I just want to end it with this. One thing I think with this draft, like I said, we started the show with approach. The approach was to get foundation pieces on the offense and the defensive line, as well as get physical players that have that nasty mentality. Detroit loves that. That's why a lot of Detroit fans are backing this up, because they love seeing that beef. Those guys that are nasty in the trenches, they love that. So they did that. They also got these fits, which they filled holes, but they didn't reach for people. They took people at good value and physical players, not these, gadget guys like we talked about. And they took guys that have mentality like you talk about every week on the show, that they love football. They have just like, I'm going to beat the man across from me type attitude, which I know this coaching staff loves. And I think the biggest thing, Benny, I mean, I know you're a busy man, but I just need to start sending you some of these interviews, because I think if you see some of the things these guys said, the way they carry themselves, that's what puts these guys over the top. It's not always about, oh, they went to the U or they made plays in college. There is a lot to do with character, love for football, and all that. And I think they found that in this draft as well.
Okay, well, Derek, you keep saying you're gonna send it to me. When you do send me stuff, I do open it up and look at it, and I have criticism. Okay, like during the season, when you send me the game, boop, 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 boop. Oh, I got a whole lot of criticism, Derek.
But I didn't hear back from you on Cisco when I sent you his tape. I didn't hear back from you on my guy Jamin Davis, who went in the mid-first round. I didn't hear back from you when I sent you like 3-4 great clips from Kings of Comedy with Cedric the Entertainer, some of the funniest stuff of all time. I don't hear back from you on this. I mean, I just think you're ignoring. You're blocking my calls here.
No, because we didn't have shows when you sent me that stuff. Now, yeah,
we had shows, but
look, I was cracking up when you sent me that Kid the Entertainer golf. Man, that's why we're not on the golf course. I'm telling you, that's why I was cracking up.
Oh, so good. That was when you were hitting the links too. I was like, oh,
that was me. People kept saying,
you can't.
They kept saying, Benny.
You can't shush Mr. Blades.
Oh man, what you doing?
You're a grown ass man, Mr. Blades. Oh man, that's some hilarious stuff. Well, like you say, I'm gonna send some stuff your way, but like I say, you just got to get into these kids' character, because I know they're not from the U. I mean, I just for a fun game, real quick, what would you give if they would have taken Brevin Jordan? What grade would that have been?
Brevin only would have got in the B.
Oh, come on. You know that's A+ from you all day. If we'd have taken Phillips or Roche, that's A+.
No, let me tell you something. In all honesty, Brevin, at the U, he wasn't made to block. He's going to have to become a better blocker, or better position blocker, And so, I mean, he has some things that he really, really needs to work on in order to stay in the National Football League.
All right. Well, like I say, I think your grades are a little bit skewed if they went to that school that you mentioned multiple times here on the show. But Benny, let's close this.
Baby, the U.
Let's close this show up. I think you're kind of like a wait and see. I think everybody other than you is kind of like, this is a tremendous first draft by this regime. They got great football players at good positions of need, as well as building blocks. So, I mean, we all BLEAV in this draft, so you'll come around someday.
Well, Derek, here's what I want the fans to understand, that Benny will always believe in the Lions. I am a Honolulu blue and silver guy. When CIU say I'm always talking about the U, I'm always talking about the Lions, because you know what? I believe in the one. I'm a one.
Oh! I tried to hit you with an baby after your one pride. Do that again, Mr. Blade. Give me a one pride, and I'll hit you with the and one mixtapes for you.
Oh, baby.
That's not one of your best one prides, I got to say, Mr. Blades. I could barely hear it. We got you off microphone, but it'll do for this week. I mean, the old baby made up for it. So I agree with you. I mean, we believe in the Lions. Everybody knows you're rooting for Detroit. You're always representing. And I somehow chased you down, and we got a good 45-minute hour show in. So I feel good. I don't know how I did it, but I did it.
But you see, I've gotten 4 phone calls.
Yeah, we got to let Mr. Blades go. He's got the whole, city of South Florida trying to chase him down, as well as all the things he's doing here in the D with his school and everything. So I really appreciate making time, Mr. Blades, and hopefully, we can figure out our schedules to get you back on and talk some more football next week. We'll be talking more about these players, more about the Lions building here in the next few weeks. So appreciate the time.
All right, Derek. Take care of yourself.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for listening. Catch us next week right here on Bleav, BLEAVN Lions. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. We're out.
I believe, I believe, I believe.
If I can get respect from these guys, I'm a darn well get respect, and I'm going to demand the respect from anyone else.
I believe, I believe, I believe.